1 hour down, 3 to go. If you're just now joining us, you dropped off. Oh, well, the kids at summer camp, right? I used to love summer camp. I really did. Sports camp, right? You play flag football, whatever it is. I used to go to camps. My parents used to say, get out the house, bro. Go. Just go. Just go. They sent me hours away. They sent me across the country. I went to a military camp during the summer. Just go, bro.
I never went to a camp a day in my life.
Just go. My parents had me out of here every summer, and I loved it. I still talk to some friends that I met at a 6th grade camp, 7th grade camp. I'll follow them on, Facebook, because we didn't make it to Instagram. The relationship didn't make it to Instagram, but it's great stuff, man. Send your kids to camp. It's good for them. Let them get dirty. Let them cut up their knees, okay? Let them be in some dirt, all right? It's summer. Send them to summer camp. But maybe you're just now joining us, and if you are joining us, if you've been listening to the morning show, you might already be privy to this, but we are moving towards a change in some of our logistics here at the station. We're going all the way through top of the hour. We're going all the way through the first half of the hour. Okay, so there are no breaks. You get 30 minutes straight of sports talk. So that little break that we used to have at 11:12, 11:15 is gone. Okay, until otherwise kind of spoken for, it is gone. So these top of the hours, we are really going to dig in deep to things. There's no breaks, all gas, no breaks. 916-339-1140. And what better way to kick off our first elongated 11 o'clock opening segment with a Kings trade candidate that is, I would say, a little confusing now, because I don't know that this guy would change the trajectory of the team, but you would get a little younger, you would get a little bit more hope, and maybe he would get a little bit more runway to see who he could be. And we are talking about Jaime Jaquez Jr. Now, Jaime Jaquez Jr. is a guy that has a lot of club control left, right? A lot of club control left because of when he was drafted. And he's also a guy where a lot of people, when he was drafted, you go from being a steal to now you're untouchable because we got this found money and you're cheap, to now, oh, is this guy actually good at basketball or as good as we thought? Now, let's not talk about Jaime Jaquez as if he were a second-round pick or anything like that. He was taken the 18th overall pick in 2023. Okay, he's 24 years old, from Irvine, California. That's why he went to Jason Ross's spot, UCLA. He turned 24 in February, so a younger 24, I would say. And he is a small forward. He goes 6'6", and this is 6'6" in Basketball Reference, so might be a little bit smaller than that. And this season, he played in 66 games. So, I really like to see my young players get to that 70-game mark. But, hey, you can't control injuries and things like that. 66 games. He averaged 8.6 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game, 46.1 from the field, 31.1% from three, 75.4% from the free throw line for his career. And like I said, obviously, he's only been in the league a couple years here. 141 games, 10.3 points per game, 4.1 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists per game, 47.8% from the field, 31.8% from three, 78.5% from the free throw line. The first thing I see here is Jaime, based on who he's going to be, you're sitting at, if you're 6'6", and I would say if you're 6'8" and below, you cannot shoot under 34% from three. That's the nature of the beast right now. Unless you have some crazy skill that I don't even know what it would be. But 6'6" and below, I would even say 6'8" and below, you can't be at 31% from three. And back in the day, it used to be, well, he's not a three-point shooter. Well, that doesn't exist anymore, right? That just simply doesn't exist. So Jaime Jaquez, like I said, 66 games. He had a really good rookie season. I would call this a sophomore slump. He was 4th in Rookie of the Year voting last season. Last season, he was at 11.9 points per game. He shot it a little bit better from three at 32% from the 3-point line. He doesn't really shoot threes. That's the other part of it. So he was at 0.6 or 1.8 attempts per game. Last season, he was at 2.7, so he took nearly 3 threes. Last season, he played 75 games last season as well, started 20 of them. This season, he started 17 of them. So a bit of a down year for Jaime Jaquez. Minutes played is really interesting as well, and I think a bigger part of why the Heat might be able to move him or might have to move him. Jaime Jaquez last season, 28.2 minutes per game, and this season only 20.7 minutes per game. So yeah, a bit of a sophomore slump. Erik Spoelstra trying to make some things work. They have a bunch of guys that are pretty good, but not really anybody that's really good. And I'm interested in Jaime Jaquez. Like I said, Kyle wrote these trade packages up, and we're going to break that down here in about 2 minutes. But yeah, Ramsey, a guy like Jaime Jaquez goes from, oh my goodness, steal of the draft, to we can't really find him minutes. He's sitting at 20 minutes per game. And now I have no clue what his ceiling is, which is why he kind of has regressed back to, and I use the word regress, but he's kind of dropped back down to what people thought he was going to be in the league.
I put it like this. There might also be some which we won't divulge in because we don't have all the facts. There might be some personal things going on between him and Erik Spoelstra, but we'll leave that alone. Mm-hmm. But when he was sitting there in the 2023 draft, I know he didn't make it to the Kings, but he was a target I definitely wanted the Kings to take when they had the 24th pick. Granted, Miami took him at 18, and I was like, damn, they got them one.
Right.
He doesn't shoot threes, but here's the other thing. I probably, and you may have seen it too, we probably saw Jaime Jaquez best overall game as a pro here, not this season, but the season before when he came in and busted the Kings.
Yeah.
He had 28, was on the block, putting in that work. He had 26 in that game, 12 of 17 from the field. He shot 2 threes. Okay. I mean, he had 5 rebounds, 4 steals, couple assists, but he was on the block giving the Kings work. And if you can get that out of a Jaime Jaquez, that's what you want. And that's what he was known to do his junior and especially his senior year at UCLA. You give him the ball 6'6", 6'7" on the block. I mean, God rest his soul to Pac-12, but he was Pac-12 Player of the Year that year, was giving everybody in the conference work because they give the ball to him on the block. He'd post up, turn around, hit him for a mid-range. Or with that UCLA team, he had full autonomy and full range, so he's able to drive the basket as well, basically get whatever he wants. And he had other players on that team that are in the pros that, I mean, they're fringe players at the moment. He had Johnny Juzang, that's with the Utah organization. He had the point guard Tiger Campbell. I believe he also had I want to say Riley, I think is his last name, the big center they had.
Yeah.
And one of the years, I don't know if it was his senior year or junior year, they also had a taller center, dude named Thomas Welsh. But he was man amongst boys in the Pac-12. And I mean, if you can get that and get him to if he needs to change his scenery and wants to change his scenery, and if you don't have to give up much to get him, I'd take him here in Sacramento. He would be the player that would solve that wing depth that you lost, for example, with Kevin Huerter. King should have, in my opinion, granted, we haven't had a full chance to see what Devin Carter looks like because he'd been injured, but a majority of people in Sacramento, when that 13th pick came up last season, all were shouting, me included, wanted Dalton Connect from Tennessee because he would solve that 6'4" to 6'6" wing player, shooter, slasher that you need. I mean, Jaquez probably has a similar game to that. I think he's a little more physical, a little bigger than Dalton Connect, but he could fit that need. I mean, if he had to spot start, great. But I think he'd be someone, if the Kings found it, he'd be coming in with that second unit, give you energy, someone to feed off of. Say, for example, if he doesn't start Malik Monk, if he doesn't feed off Malik Monk, you got someone. Hey, Malik, you don't have it tonight. All right, give it to Jaquez on the block, second unit. Yeah. Let's go. You got some scoring pop. You got someone that can help and assist Malik Monk on that second unit.
Yeah, my problem with Jaime Jaquez, to be honest with you, I think the reality is he's not a high ceiling player, right? He kind of is. He might get a little bit. I'm not saying he can't get better, but it's not somebody that you're taking a chance on as far as this guy could be a 1 or a 2 as far as a scoring option or elite in that way. So the reality is, in my opinion, before we get to what Kyle cooked up for us, Ramsey in for Kyle Ledbetter for the next 2 days, the problem is I don't know if the Kings are good enough to actually utilize a Jaime Jaquez, right? Your Jake LaRavia is different because he could shoot the 3 ball and he can guard. We've seen him guard point guards. We've seen him guard a lot, right? Jaime Jaquez, to me, is best suited on a team where he's going to be basically a younger, slightly smaller Trey Lyles type dude, where he's your 8th, 9th guy on a really good team. I don't know how he serves as a 6th, 7th guy on the Sacramento Kings. If the price is right, cool. But I could see him coming out here and us, people saying, well, we traded for Jaime Jaquez. Where's the 20 point? You're not going to see that terribly often.
No. But I mean, Jaime Jaquez, if you can get 12, his rookie year, he averaged 12 points a game. If you get 12 to 13 points from him off the bench, that's outstanding. And don't deny the services and the skills of Doug Christie. I mean, Doug Christie, end of the day, is a hooper, and he'll find a way to utilize and has the basketball IQ and the cachet to find a way to use hoopers. Jaime Jaquez, at the end of the day, I'll be honest, Jaime Jaquez is a hooper.
No, he is. I hear you on that. But these hoopers do well when there's already a system in place, right? The hoopers do well when it's, okay, cool. We got Shea, we got Chet. Y'all are going to do your thing. And then if you need something, call me. I'm here, right? That's why they're trading for Jaime. I think that could work. But now we're saying, okay, so you're saying that we have our guys in DeMontis and Zach LaVine, and that could be the situation. I just don't think that team is very good.
I mean, my thing about Jaime Jaquez as well, if for some reason the Kings cannot renew or find a way to bring Jake LaRavia back, he would serve a similar purpose that Jake LaRavia served in hustle guy, do some of the dirty work, grab the rebounds, potentially get you steals, set some people up, and he would give you, in my opinion, a few more points than Jake LaRavia would give you.
And I would say on top of that, and I don't know if you would agree with me or not, Ramsey. Look, he's he just turned 24?
Yeah, he just turned 24 in February.
Just turned 24. Here, regardless of whether he ends up staying on the Heat, gets traded in a KD deal, whatever it is, do you agree with me that if you are 6'8" and below, you have to shoot the 3 ball? You kind of have to. And he ain't 6'8". I said 6'8" and below. You're 6'6". You kind of have to shoot the 3 ball, dude.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean,
you're 24.
I get that part, but I'll just
lock the gym up.
I'll push back. How tall is DeMar DeRozan?
That's a different time though. And DeMar is one of the best mid-range shooters in the history of the game.
I'll give you another one.
Okay,
but I think height-wise, I might be mistaken because I think he's 6'9". Mikal Bridges.
But he can hit the but
he can hit the corner. He can hit a 3, but Mikal Bridges is more known for mid range than he is.
I would agree with that.
Than he is hitting a 3.
But he ain't shooting. No, I'll tell you right now. He's at 35%, Ramsey. That's all I'm saying. 35%. He can guard essentially everybody but centers.
Very true.
And Mikal Bridges taking 5.6 a game.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it in his game.
No, because he didn't even take 2 threes a game this season.
No.
This past season.
No. Now he was nearly at 3 his rookie year, and it was just a bit of a down season for him. But I'm interested in him, but you got to do a little bit more. Let's get to these trades that Kyle cooked up for us. Here's the first one, Ramsey. And by the way, as far as the contract is concerned, he's under that team control. There's a club option, which I believe the Heat will exercise, or whatever the case may be. The club has team control the next 2 seasons. Next season, 26-27, or even this season, one of these seasons coming up, they're going to look to extend him, right? And that'll be the kind of Keegan situation. I believe it could be this season actually. So we'll see what they decide to do there. If they decide to move on from him, because if they decline the option, then he could eventually be a restricted free agent, or they could extend him that next season as well. But here are the two deals. The first one, trade number one. The Heat acquire DeMar DeRozan. The Kings acquire Jaime Jaquez Jr., Terry Rozier, or Duncan Robinson. Jaime Jaquez and Duncan Robinson, or Jaime Jaquez and Terry Rozier for a 2026 and a 2026 Miami second rounder. So DeMar DeRozan, who we feel like we are moving on from anyway. For Jaime Jaquez, I like Duncan Robinson better than Terry Rozier at this point. Jaime Jaquez, Duncan Robinson, and a 2026 Miami second rounder. Do you feel like you have gotten enough for DeMar DeRozan in that deal?
First off, I said denied because I'm in the minority. I'm not moving DeMar DeRozan unless he truly asks for it. But if that was the case and that was the deal, I need more than that. And you throw the name Terry Rozier gets thrown in. Terry Rozier might not be in the league. He might be.
No. That's why I said Duncan Robinson. No. I'm not doing that with Terry Rozier.
Yeah, the scary Terry might have scared his way out of the league.
Yeah, it is scary to watch him play basketball.
Yeah, that it is. And like I said, again, he's another one that has some personal issues going on, and he might have scared his way out of the league. But if you were to do that, I need more than that. I need more than that in that particular trade. I mean, you'd have to give me. I haven't looked at salaries, see if they matched up.
Yeah,
you'd almost have to give me like a Haywood Highsmith
or a Jovic or somebody.
Maybe Jovic, but we don't know what Jovic's true potential is. The reason why I said Haywood Highsmith, because he would definitely fit. He would definitely be a bench player and fill that similar role that Jake LaRavia played. Hustle, does the dirty work, steals, rebounds, things of that nature. Doesn't really need the ball to score. Doesn't really look to score unless he truly has to. But if for some reason DeMar DeRozan is moved, I need more than that, because DeMar DeRozan was the number one scoring option here in Sacramento, and at this moment currently constructed, I believe he's still the number one scoring option currently constructed.
And you know what's so funny? If he goes to the Heat, he'd probably be the number one option out there. I mean, yeah, we see Tyler Hero have good seasons, but I don't know that Tyler Hero is an everyday workhorse. We have not seen that. So I don't think I'm doing the deal, because this, first of all, if Miami is interested in DeMar DeRozan, that means they didn't get Kevin Durant. So Miami is the only team, or one of the only teams, it's Miami, Phoenix, and the Kings, and kind of the Bulls, that just refuse to rebuild, right? They will not rebuild no matter what. You cannot make me. I will not do it. So I know that. So if you really want DeMar DeRozan, that is not enough.
That's not enough. And I wouldn't use the word. And again, the Kings, in my opinion, don't need to rebuild, because I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. 25 to 30 games for me is not enough sample size to see what this roster truly is, with all the turnover, the turmoil that the team had last season. If it's something that doesn't work at the trade deadline at the next upcoming season, fine, do what you got to do. But again, in my opinion, 25 to 30 games wasn't a big enough sample size. I need to see more. And if I see more and it doesn't work, all right, I'll fall back. Be like, okay, I understand. I just need to see more. And I also need to see what it looks like with Doug Christie being able to implement what he wants to implement into the system.
But they need a point guard.
Oh,
you do agree.
Definitely.
Okay, so you're just saying you want them to run it back. And I don't know what percentage of Kings fans are running back. I know it's the minority. I just don't know how big that minority is. So you're just saying go get you a Tyus Jones or Tyus Jones, CP3, and just run it back.
That, or if for some way, somehow you can find a way to move into the later first round. My eyes have been set, because I saw him play in person in San Francisco in March. He just won a chip. If you can find a way to get back in that first round, especially later half of the first round, go get me Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida. The kid, he's got in my opinion, he's got that
Ramsey. You know what? We will put a pin in that for later in the show. Okay, here is and don't go anywhere. We ain't leaving. We ain't leaving. I know. We are not leaving. Like I said, we taking you all the way through to the halfway mark on these first segments here as we're rocking and rolling. Trade number 2, Ramsey. Maybe this one tickles your fancy a little bit more. The Heat acquire Zach LaVine, and the Kings acquire Jaime Jaquez Jr., Scary Terry, and Kyle Slow-Mo Anderson.
Really, bro? I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that whatsoever.
I'm not doing that.
That's giving me that's
where is Jovic?
That's degrade. I have no clue. That's degrading your team.
Where is Jovic?
That's basically hit the red Staples that was easy button and hitting a reset, which I'm not. That's definitely not enough for if you win Zach LaVine. No, I'm cool. If you want to trade Zach LaVine, you got to give me Tyler Hero.
Well,
let's
no, I don't know about that.
I'm not saying that they would do it, but I need more net.
Yeah, if we're talking Zach LaVine, and shout out Kyle. Kyle whipped these up for us, and he ain't even doing the show. That's how hard of a worker he is. He did the morning show, and he has some much-deserved time off tomorrow as well. But shout out Kyle. But the first one, cool. The second one, I don't know, Kyle, because in that situation, and obviously the focus is Jaime Jaquez, but in that situation, I'm taking Andrew Wiggins. I'm taking Andrew Wiggins and Jaime Jaquez in that situation.
I want nothing to do with Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins is, if not the second softest player in the NBA. It's, in my opinion, it's between him and Benham and O.J. Simmons. I want nothing to do with them in Sacramento. And for those that work at this station that still trying to cook up that idea to take a flyer on him, nah, fam, I'm not doing that. I want nothing to do with either one of them.
I'm just saying, there's no way I'm doing that second deal. The first deal, you could convince me, but I personally would say no, simply because I think that DeMar DeRozan is worth more. And maybe this is just saying how we feel about Jaime Jaquez. Maybe this is us both saying, as much as we're talking about DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, maybe this is us also saying, again, the ceiling of Jaime Jaquez is not that high.
For me, it's saying the names that that were put in those potential trades. That's too much. That's too much to trade to get the assets back that Kyle listed. If they want to reset and break it up and move on from either one of those two, I need some form of value back.
Well, and again, we could also have the conversation about the timeline, right? I mean, Jaime Jaquez is 24. He's not terribly young, so it still kind of fits. Duncan is 31. Haywood Highsmith, 6'7", by the way, 28 years old. I think that's somebody that I would be interested in. His contract would be expiring. So, like you said, Ramsey, maybe a Jake LaRavia type of situation. By the way, I was talking to somebody recently, and let's just say this whole idea, and I'm guilty of it too, because no, I'm not cooking up a bunch of Heat games. This idea that Nikola Jovic could be the next whatever. Look, he's 6'10", 21 years old. Let's just say there is a question as to whether or not this guy is actually good at basketball.
You got to show and prove it to me. He's got to show.
So before
Jovic has to show and prove it to me. From what we've seen, I don't know what this dude is.
So the reason I bring it up is, okay, throw in Jovic, as I just said. You look at what the Heat have, and you got a Haywood Highsmith, who is, I think, a found money type of player. Terry Rozier, who is Terry Rozier, and that's still it's expiring, but 26 mil. Andrew Wiggins, 2 years left on his deal. We know the PR situation that is. And then you have young guy. Okay, so Khalil Ware, who I wanted, I had another source tell me that from Indiana, this guy's a real deal. Kings didn't take him, fine, whatever. Now, okay, so he's untouchable. So all you have to work with is Jovic, and now there's questions as to whether or not he's going to be good at basketball. And Jaime Jaquez, the Heat are going to have to, the Kevin Durant conversation, they're going to have to come off some picks, in my opinion.
And they're also trying to figure out what they're going to do with a former Sacramento King and Davion Mitchell, which, I mean, if they don't want to match it, I mean, if it's not going to cost you, it's probably going to cost you more than what it would have if he was still here a year ago. But if it's not going to cost you that much, I bring Davion back to Sacramento. I have no issue with that. I had no issue with Davion then. I had no issue with him at Baylor. I have no issue with him now. I'd take him back.
I'm not against making a deal with the Heat that's not for Andrew Wiggins or for Duncan Robinson. If they were willing to do this, if the Kings are willing to do this, I will tell you what that is on the other side, as well as some of the Orlando Magic leftovers that the Kings also may be interested in. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino.